Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, October the 4th. I'm Gary Stevens. Got everything in order now. And we are very pleased, as we do on the first Monday of the month, to be joined by State House Representative, the second-term Republican from Coopersville, Luke Meerman, joining us via the Zoom connection. Luke, apologies for the little bit of a snafu, but we got everything together and glad you're with us this morning, sir.
Same here, Gary. Glad to be with you.
And if you got a question out there, you can ask Luke about it, not via the Zoom connection, because that's just between him and me. But you can join us over the phone at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we go to much further, Luke, your thoughts about the just completed budget situation in Lansing. It has been signed, but the veto pen has been pulled out by Governor Whitmer, most notably with some of the election or voting requirements that let's just say she is not happy with. Some of those she calls unenforceable. Others she flat out put the veto pen to. All in all, though, because we didn't have a government shutdown, is it still somewhat of a successful budget process, or because of these unenforceable actions and also because of the vetoes, it leaves you a little bit wanting more?
Yeah, Gary. Well, I guess it always comes down to your perspective. Is the audio coming through? I'm sorry, Gary.
Yes, your audio is coming through just fine, sir.
Thank you, sir. Perspective. Yeah, back to your perspective. I personally voted no on the budget, and that was not for any big grand reasons. I had a few different reasons, and we can get into those. But yeah, I think overall people would have said this would be the year that the fight would go nuclear, and we would have government shutdowns. I never thought it would go quite that far, but I certainly was hoping to use, and I think we did use our power, our leverage with the the money that was out there to get a few things we want. So yeah, it was an interesting process. I'm not on appropriations, so I wasn't sitting at the table per se, but there was a few things that I was looking for. Ambulance reimbursement, at some point we can ask about that, but that was one thing I focused on.
Yeah, ambulance reimbursement. But what really, shall we say, went against your grain and compelled you to not vote for the budget proposal?
Yep. Well, in the case of there was two omnibus bills. Well, at least one omnibus bill. The other one was higher education, and in that case, we did have some language in there that let the universities know they needed to have more options for students if they wanted a waiver for not getting a vaccine. And that was my focus there. I just thought we should have gone far enough to say no reason waiver at the university level. That's what I was after. I didn't see it, and that's why I voted no there. On the other budget, the large omnibus budget, which had everything else in it, that was a harder vote for me, the no vote, because I did think there was a lot of good stuff in there that we were getting. I guess my biggest concern is that we really could have got a few more things. But again, I wasn't at the table. I wasn't negotiating it. And, that's kind of like armchair quarterbacking it. And there was a couple things in there that I was looking for, like I said, ambulance reimbursement.
616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. If you have a question for State Representative Luke Meerman, we received a question for you online, and so I will pass it on and quote it verbatim. The State Department of Natural Resources, or EGLE is what they are called now, will ban swimming on Red Flag Day starting on May of next year. The rule is based on 83 drowning deaths this year. You, along with fellow second-term Republican State Representative Brad Slaw of Zeeland Township, wrote a bill prohibiting the DNR from taking such action. I am quoting the questioner. Quote, "Why do they want more dead people? So many ways to kill constituents. It is weird. End quote. Your response to that question and that remark.
No, I know that's way some people look at it absolutely, but I look at it as the growth of government, a nanny state that is continuing to tell us more and more what we should and shouldn't be doing. And I don't think it's a place that government needs to be. It doesn't need to be involved in that. I mean, frankly, if I wanted to save people, I would lower the speed limit to 35. I mean, if that's how I wanted to save lives. And so, I don't think that's where we should be going. I don't think that government telling people when they can't swim. I realize people have died, but I could also say don't get in the water. I mean, then you won't drown. So at what point does it end?
616-395-1450. There have been others who have been asking about, well, maybe we need to put lifeguards back at the state parks. I won't put my opinion on it. I will just bring it to you. For those who might say we need lifeguards back at the state parks, how would you answer it?
I did in a in a Holland Sentinel interview, I did say that there probably are other things that we could consider to help people know the dangers that are out there. I've stood there and read signs that describe all that's going on, the rip currents and such, and how that, can unexpectedly take you in directions you can. And frankly, you just don't have enough energy to swim. I would guess that lifeguards would be a pretty significant, and I don't even know when the last time we did. I'm guessing we've never had them everywhere. But Grand Haven State Park had them in the past, and a few other places. But yeah, I did commit to looking at other options for making sure that people really understand what's going on.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Luke Meerman.
Yeah, hi. When Representative Slaa was on last week, somebody had called up and said that they felt that the action of having, not being able to swim on red flag days was going to take away their freedom to go boogie boarding and surfing and do the fun stuff that you wanted to do, when in actuality that is permitted within the, to do activities like that, to do surfing and stuff. And Representative Slaa did not dispute that when he was on. So I'm wondering if there's anything else that you might think of taking, you're going to take away seatbelts from kids and stuff like that next, because it's like, this is merely a deterrent. So you will have less people be harmed. And, if you want to look at maybe putting lifeguards at everybody's beach like that, like you just talked about a moment ago, that's going to be much more expensive than having a deterrent of a fine. So it's the cheapest thing the state can do is to offer something like this. And I think it's a better thing in the long run, as far as being for keeping people safe. You can call it a nanny state if you want, but you have many things you have to live under from a government. And this is a very inconsequential thing that would be beneficial for everybody. So I think you should rethink that.
All right. Thank you very much for your comment, Representative Meerman.
Yeah, hear you loud and clear. I guess my, vision of what government should be doing for us has been long past. And so for me, this is a small way to say, no, this is not something government should be involved in. I think fines and penalties for swimming on a red flag are just way over the top.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Luke Meerman.
Well, I want to thank you, Luke, for arguing against that. Because you know what? Everybody used to love to play in the big waves on the beach. When we were kids, we all did it. And my husband was so upset when he saw that they're trying to take that away now. I mean, you're right, absolutely right. It's the same way with this vaccine. People have rights. These are our freedoms. What is wrong with people? Thank you, Luke.
Appreciate the call. Luke, your response, please.
Yeah, I view this country as being great because of the liberties it preserves for people. And those liberties allow us to, be free people, and people want to move to the United States because it is a great country. And I think it's great because of the freedoms and liberties. And I know I just talked in a circle there, but to me, the point is the freedom and the liberties. And at what point do we say, government, you've told us enough what to do and how to run our lives?
Good morning. You're on the line with Representative Meerman.
Well, good morning, Mr. Stevens. Good morning, Mr. Meerman. Thank you for your wonderful service for the people of Ottawa County and our state. I never hear our governor talk about nutrition and cleaning and sanitizing. And we drink cow's milk and eat onions raised here in West Michigan and all kinds of healthy food. We never get sick. And the onion, as you know, is a natural anti-parasite. There's a magazine called Onion Magazine, which I read, and so forth. And you never hear her talk about nutrition. I think she's just trying to scare people to death. And I think you should talk to her personally and see if she can talk about nutrition and sanitation and stuff like that. So thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450. Luke, I don't know whether or not you heard that as clearly as maybe we did on air, but nutrition, and of course, you're a dairy farmer. And maybe you have a little more bias in that regard, but certainly the dairy industry has been making great strides to make sure that the products that come out are nutritionally as best as possible.
Yeah. And I think it was in regards to not getting sick from COVID. Was that your understanding?
I was a little bit muffled on our end, and I apologize for that, but still. The nutritional aspect of the dairy industry has been very, very effective.
Yeah, I definitely got the nutrition part, and it is extremely important. And it's the baseline where we all should be starting for as far as our health is concerned. Whether you're, whether you're in danger of getting COVID, which many might be, and just health in general. That nutrition, I think one of the just to let me give one little sentence in here. The idea that I think our gut bacteria and many of the bacteria that, help us live, whether it's on our skin or in our gut, is going to be one of the next health revolutions that we see. Probiotics, we used to make some really neat cheese, and, we just can't live without those bacteria. And we're understanding more and more how that works. We need them in our gut to help us digest food. And it's such a big part of keeping us healthy.
Peg McNichol has a question from the newsroom. Go ahead, Peg.
Just not so much a question as just a quick fact check for the gentleman who called saying we never get sick here because we eat things like good dairy and onions, and he frequently calls. I just want to point out there are 13 people with COVID-19 severe symptoms alone in Holland Hospital. There's nearly 200 in Spectrum, and that's just the COVID patients. People still get sick in West Michigan. Yes, I agree. And it is scientifically proven that good nutrition helps reduce your exposure to illnesses and helps keep you healthy, like a good night's sleep. I think, Mr. Meerman, you would agree with that about the sleep as well.
Oh, absolutely.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Luke Meerman.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Yeah, talking about health. I mean, I'm 65 years old. I've been exposed to COVID probably no less than 12 times. I give blood to the Red Cross. I have my, checks and balances all the time as far as health. And I just feel like I'm being discriminated against. I take really good care of myself. I mean, if you want to go to this extreme, then you know what? We need to take all the potato chips off the shelves because they're not healthy for people. We need to take away all the pop in the world, and we can't have pop because that's bad for people. We have to eliminate everything in the world that, prevents people from being healthy. And we've gone to such a far extreme. The only thing you hear in the news is bad news. Now, if you look at Florida right now, Florida is going backwards with their cases, okay? They're one of the red states, but they're doing much better, but you'll never hear that. All we hear in the media is negative news. And that's what Facebook, the classic example, that's what Facebook is all about. Negative news, things that spark people's, emotions. And that's what this was all about. This is nothing about health. This is about emotions. This is about control. This whole thing is a mess. It's like Storm Team 8. oh, warning, warning, the sun's going to shine today, or oh, we're going to have a half-inch rain. All of this stuff is out of control, and people just need to be able to be sensible about it and say, look, this stuff is a hoax. It's no joke to people that get it, but the flu's been no joke to people that have gotten the flu either over the years and have died. It's just the flu.
Okay.
So you have to be your own best advocate as far as what's good for you. I don't want the government to tell me what I need to do. That's the bottom line.
I appreciate the call, and thank you very much for the comment. 616-395-1450. Luke, let me get this. I wanted to sort of hold on to this until after the break. Unfortunately, we had a couple of calls, nothing unfortunate about the callers, but we do want to get your thoughts about the decision made last week by the Ottawa County Department of Public Health to maintain the mask mandate for the youngsters, whereas Allegan County and Van Buren County decided not to maintain that mandate. I know you and your predecessor, current State Senator Roger Victory, were in support of the Parents' Choice of West Michigan's fight to overturn the mandates. Your thoughts about the decision made by the Ottawa County Department of Public Health last week?
Yeah, it was a disappointment. 15 counties now in the state of Michigan have dropped their mask mandates. Again, I think it's a parent choice, and I've said that all along. I think to some extent it's speaking on, for a long time, the idea has been, hey, we need to follow the law. We need to follow the law. Now we have, this in the state budget. I realize it's boilerplate, but it is law for a year. And so the idea that, we don't need to follow this because it's, uncertain. Well, in my mind, it is the law. So very disappointing. And, we're looking for ways to see how we can kind of continue to push on that front.
Another thing I do want to bring up, and it's something that your office issued out over the last week or so, about the new rules issued by Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. You're not happy because it says it would weaken Michigan's election security. Why do you believe that's the case?
Yeah, so there's three pieces that the Secretary of State is moving towards JCAR, and that's Joint Rules Administration Committee. That's where the promulgated rules go from departments. As departments kind of update what they're doing on a cyclical basis, these rules need to come before JCAR. And so that's the process that's going forward. And what I'm particularly not excited about, I don't think is good, is that, the absentee ballots would kind of go to a centralized system where the Secretary of State is sending them out from a central place instead of our local clerks sending them out like they have been. And I think that just takes so much control away from the local clerks. They're the ones that know those people who are asking for an absentee ballot. They don't know everyone, but they certainly are going to know them a lot better than, a state system from the top. And I do have huge concerns about that. And then the other one is how do you determine if a signature is valid? And she's using a lot of the same language that she used last time when she referred to the clerks. And basically it's, if it's a signature, consider it valid to begin with. And I want every single person to vote that is legitimate. And I don't want to stand anything in their way, but we just want to make sure they're legitimate people. And I think her terminology and how she's using it, and there is a way to check signatures. Do they match what's been signed in the past? That's what I'm asking for in those two cases.
Now, if anybody wishes to contact Luke Meerman, who represents Eastern Ottawa County in the State House, his office phone number is 517-373-1830. I'll repeat it again, 517-373-1830. And we'll put a link to Representative Meerman's webpage on the state GOP House site when we put the podcast of this particular conversation on our webpage at WHTC.com in a few minutes. State Representative Luke Meerman, as always, we appreciate the time and appreciate your answers to the questions that we and our listeners had. Look forward to, hopefully, if all goes well, chatting with you again in about a month from now.
Look forward to chatting with you also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luke Meerman on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.